Howdy guys, it's Joe here again, and today I want to talk to you guys about what seems to be one of the more powerful comps that's coming out again. Of course it's existed in the past, but it's really gained a lot of strength and a lot of popularity again. And honestly, I'd say this is a really good comp to try to pick up for yourself, play with teammates, play with friends, try to get your team to do, for a myriad of reasons. Now, one of the main reasons why I feel like this is so strong is simply because you can get, on offense at least, a lot of damage done, pop the point, just go in from there. But as well with that, I feel like it's not as hard mechanically in order to do. All you have to do is really time up with your teammates and go in. Of course, mechanics do help, but they don't need to be spot on. So it's kind of nice in a way because you don't really have to worry too much about your teammates' mechanics. So anyways, what type of playstyle is going back into the meta, or at least quite a bit? Well, it's the dive comp playstyle. Now, we saw this a lot in, I think, a very soon after esport event that happened right after D.Va was nerfed. We saw quite a bit of this dive comp. There's a lot of Genji, a lot of Tracer, a lot of Winston, people jumping in and just getting a lot of damage done and taking the point. Now, overall, how does the dive comp work? Well, pretty much just as I barely said. You group up together, you get ready to go in, you tell your team when you are going in, and then you all dive in and try to go for the backline. Mainly the big damage dealers. If they have someone like a Bastion, if they have, McCree, if they have a soldier, try to get them really fast, and as well, getting all the supports. And then after that, the tanks kind of just trickle off and die really fast. And overall, it seems to be a quite effective method right now. Now, with that said, of course, you should only really be playing this on offense or King of the Hill, but in those modes, it can really do wonders and just mash the enemy team. I feel like a lot of times, people just aren't ready for you to dive on them. They're ready for that slow grind game against the Reinhardt shield, against D.Va shield, against things like that, but if your team just groups up, jumps on the enemies, you can quite often just completely wipe them or wipe half their team, get really far on the cart push, or just get the King of the Hill capture point. It can really put you ahead in life. And I feel like this is especially good in solo queue or in duo queue, or I guess in team queue, because of the fact that if you are even semi-organized as a team ready to jump in, you can very much often beat the super unorganized enemy team that's sitting right in front of you. Now, of course, this does require that your team does stay somewhat organized, stays pretty close together, and are ready to go in when you tell them to, when a teammate tells them to, when anyone's really telling them to go in. But if they can get that done, just having your teammates close by and helping each other will give you a huge advantage in the first place and can honestly win you a few games just by that itself. Now, how did this meta kind of come to be again? Well, let's say it's for a myriad of reasons, but of course the main reason is the fact that D.Va did get a really huge HP nerf, and the fact was that people like Genji and people like Tracer really couldn't do anything at all against D.Va. Now, of course, a lot of people couldn't do anything at all, but those people in particular, they had absolutely no chance to do anything. When there's 3 or 4 tanks, you can't do anything. If you dive in, you're just gonna get melted because you're squishies and they're super tanky. But as it is right now, it's not really like that anymore. Of course, there's still some D.Va and some of those characters like that. There's still some tanks, but they aren't quite as tanky, and they really can't block quite as much damage anymore, which does give you a huge advantage when you're ready to go in. And of course, just having more damage on your side now can also give you a huge advantage because they have less damage that they can even take in total, simply because the HP bar and of course the armor bar, the main thing that did counter these flankers, is down quite a bit, which of course helps you a lot. Now, anyways, to the comp itself, let me give you guys the lowdown on this. Now, it begins with a Lucio. Pretty much, you always need a Lucio. It's very basic. You go in with your team, the Lucio speed boosts you in, and then stays a little bit further behind to either heal your team, or stays pretty close up and tries to boot people in really weird directions. He goes that offensive Lucio. You can try to go for those headshots, try to kill the backline. It depends. You either have a lower skilled Lucio that stays back, or an offensive Lucio that gets up there. And so with this, Lucio's actually feeling a little bit better right now, because now we can backwards wall ride. Not the best buff in the game, but it's a really nice thing that can help you quite a bit. Now, of course, the second person that you want is either a Zenyatta or an Ana. Now, if you have a really good Ana that can happen to shift people quite often, get a few picks, and then you can go in, I feel like that can be really, really great. While on the other hand, if you can happen to have a good Zenyatta that can either support, you jump in and you instantly melt through them, instead of, taking half a second, that can be good too. You really just have to look at the enemy team comp and see, would you rather try to sleep people and try to heal your team a little bit faster, or would you rather try to, go the other way out and just try to deal damage a little bit faster? It really kind of depends on the situation about who you are versus, but both of them really do work quite well. And yeah, I guess Zenyatta also does have that right click, so that can help you while you're walking around the corner, getting ready to go in for that giant push. Now, the third person that you want to pick up on your team is going to be a Winston. You pretty much need a Winston in this. I guess you could switch it to a D.Va, but there's no real reason. You want a Winston. Winston works amazing with all the flanking characters. He can jump in, get into the backline, and it's very hard for people to kill him in the backline. And as well, it's hard for the teammates to try to, support the person being killed because you have a giant bubble around you. As well, you're just very disruptive with your ultimate. He's kind of just the perfect guy for a dive comp, so make sure to pick one of those guys up as well. After that, you want to make sure that you have yourself a Zarya. Zarya is great because Zarya can E your Winston, E into the other characters that are going in, any of the offense characters, and get full charge. Then she can be a bit more consistent of the DPS. She does a lot of DPS. She can kind of burst people with her right click, and of course if you can happen to get your ultimate, and Winston can shoot into the ultimate with an Ana ult, or with a Zenyatta E, I guess, you can kind of melt through people. So that's really, really great. Overall, just kind of supporting your people that are jumping in, and especially for your squishies, being able to make so that they can't be crowd controlled with your E, that is especially useful to your team. And now as well with this, you can go Reinhardt, I guess, but I'd say Zarya does often fit the bill a lot better. Now for the DPS, there's really three main choices, that being Soldier, Genji, or Tracer. Now it happens to kind of be against the enemy team. If they have a lot of tanks, you might want to go that Soldier, or if the map is just very long range, Soldier can be pretty nice. But other than that, you should probably pick up a Genji, and then have your last pick be a Tracer. Those two really work well together. They can both gank right around, they can both just get straight in, and they can both do a heck of a ton of damage with their ultimates, and just kind of push really quickly. You want a lot of people with mobility, and that's what all these people have. As you can see, every single character here, except for Zarya, who's mainly used for that E, has a lot of mobility. You can go in and burst people very quickly, and yeah, the burst damage on these characters is really some of the best in the game, so if you add those both together, you can just destroy the enemy team before they even know what's coming. And that's just kind of how you put it all together. You get a team of those characters, or as many of them as you could possibly get with your solo queue friends, and just going from there. Make sure to try to call out some stuff though. If you're trying to do this team comp with no callouts, it'll really fail. It can't do that slow push. You have to go straight in, so either type it in chat, go into the voice chat and go for that. You have to have some sort of communication. You can try it without, but honestly, it would be better just to get the slow pushing comp than this. But yeah, if you can have the ability, go for it. It's really great, and of course, again, your team doesn't have to be quite as much mechanically skilled, I guess, except for some of the offense heroes, but everyone else can really just do kind of okay. You don't have to be way better at aiming than the enemy team. You just have to have better timing and know when to go in, and you'll kind of just learn that over time and over practice. And this is just, again, one of the things that we've been seeing a lot of players doing, a lot of players trying to abuse in ranked matches, in esport matches, and really all over the place, and it seems to be working for them, so I hope that this can maybe work for you. Yeah, just try it out yourself, and hopefully with a few friends as well. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. As always, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like, comment down below what you think about the dive comp, and especially what you are expecting if you want to try it. I feel like it's personally pretty nice to see something a bit different. Now, of course, we did see this like, half a year ago, but we haven't seen it for a long time, so tell me what you guys are thinking about it. Hopefully, it'll become somewhat meta again. I like 2-2-2, 2-2-2 dive comp, and 2-3-2, I guess. Those are some of my favorite comps, so hopefully, it can stay in here for a while and can help you guys gain some rank. Anyways, as always, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you want to see any more, and as always, have a wonderful day.